Assalamualaikum and good day to everyone. Today, I will be discussing about the procurement process, particularly the sections related to contract award, implementation, and some important procurement policies. So basically, a procurement is the process where the government selects a contractor or a supplier to implement a project. It is very important to know because it assures you the fair, the transparent, and the efficiency of the usage of the public funds. So first, let's talk about the Section 37, which is about the contract award and notice of award. So, dito nagsisimula ang final step ng bidding processes, ang Bids and Awards Committee or what we call BAC. So, ang BAC ang nag-i-evaluate lahat ng bids at sila ang nagre-recommend kung sino ang winning bidder. After that, the recommendation is submitted to the head of the procuring entity for the approval or the hope kung tawagin. So, let's give an example. So, let us say there are 3 contractor na nag-bid sa isang school building project, which is the contractor A, contractor B, and contractor C. Si contractor B and contractor C is yung evaluation, yung responsive bid nila is mas highest kaysa sa contractor A. So let us say after evaluation, si contractor A ang may lowest responsive bid. So that the BAC recommends contractor A, then the head approves it, and finally, the notice of award is issued to contractor A. So the next is the documents that forms the contract. Hindi lang kasi isang paper ang contract. Actually, maraming document ang kasama dito. So this includes the contract agreement, bidding document, bidder's proposal, performance security, and even the notice of award. So it's just like a complete package for all legal and technical agreements between the government and the contractor. So for example, kapag nanalo ang contractor, hindi dire-diretsong magsa-start ang project. It needs to go or kailangan mo munang makomplete lahat ng required documents before the contract becomes official. So which means, before it truly starts the project, it needs to go to many kinds of processes like the documents, some things like signing up some things, and so on. So after the contract is approved, the next step is the notice to proceed or the NTP. So, ang NTP, ito yung document na nagsasabi na pwede nang magsimula ang contractor sa project. Usually, the notice to proceed is issued within 3 days after contract approval. So, for example, if the contract was approved on June 1, the notice to proceed may be issued on June 3 or June 4. After that, doon na officially magsisimula ang construction project.
Section 38. Period of action on procurement activities. The procurement process from the opening of bids up to the award of contract shall not exceed 3 months, or a shorter period to be determined by the procuring entity concerned. Okay, kapag nagsimula na ang opening of bids, pagpupukas ng mga proposal ng mga bidder o contractor, ang buong proseso hanggang sa pagbibigay ng kontrata sa nanalong bidder ay hindi dapat lumampas sa 3 buwan. Ibig sabihin, may maximum na 3 months lang para matapos ang proseso. Okay, ang example nito ay kung nag-open ng bids noong January 1, dapat ma-awardan ang kontrata bago o hanggang April 1 lamang. The maximum period and earliest possible time for action on specific procurement. Activities are provided for in Annex C of this IRR. Maximum period. Ibig sabihin kung kailan dapat gawin ang bawat hakbang sa procurement process. Makikita ang mga ito sa Annex C ng IRR. implementing rules and regulation. In case the deadline for its activity falls on a non-working day, Saturday or Sunday, legal holiday, or a special non-working holiday, the deadline shall be the next working day. Kung ang deadline ng isang activity ay natapat sa araw ng walang pasok, tulad ng Sabado, Linggo, legal holiday, o special non-working holiday, ang deadline ay lilipat sa susunod na working day. Halimbawa, kung ang deadline ay Sunday, ang bagong deadline ay Monday. If no action on the contract is taken by the head of the procuring entity or the appropriate approving authority within the period specified in this IRR, the contract concerned shall be deemed approved. Kung ang head of the procuring entity o ang opisyal na may kapangyarihan mag-approve ng kontrata ay hindi gumawa ng action o decision sa loob ng tinakdang panahon. Example, kung ang kontrata ay automatic na ituturing na aprobado. Okay, that's all. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I'm Rasil Darangina. So, dito naman tayo sa Section 39, Performance Security. Ang section na ito ay tungkol sa security o guarantee na ibinibigay ng winning bidder para masigurado na gagawin nila ng maayos ang project o serbisyo na nakasad sa kontrata. So, sa madaling salita, ito ay parang assurance ng contractor sa government na tutuparin nila ang kanilang responsibilities. So, ano nga bang performance security? Ayon sa Section 39, ang winning bidder o ang company na nanalo sa bidding ay kailangan magbigay ng performance security bago pa pirmahan ang kontrata. So, ginagawa ito para masigurado na faithful o maayos nilang gagawin ang kanilang obligation sa kontrata na iyon. So, kapag hindi nila nagawa ang kanilang trabaho o nag-fail sila sa kontrata, mafu-forfeit o kukunin ng government ang performance security bilang penalty. So, forms of performance security. May iba't ibang uri, may iba't ibang paraan kung paano magbigay ng performance security. Ang una is pwedeng cash o cashier or manager check na galing sa isang commercial bank. Pangalawa naman ay pwedeng bank draft, bank warranty o letter of credit mula sa bangko. Ang pangatlo naman ay pwedeng surety bond na galing sa isang insurance company na certified ng insurance commission. So, amount of performance security. Ang amount of performance security ay nakadepende sa uri ng project. Ang una is para sa goods at consulting services. Ang performance security ay 5% ng total contract price. Ang pangalawa is para sa Yung pangalawa naman ay para sa infrastructure projects. Ito ay 10% ng total contract price. Ang pangatlo ay kapag surety bond ay maaaring umabot sa 30% ng contract price. Lahat ng ito ay dapat naka-Philippine pesos at naka-file in favor of the procuring entity, meaning is para sa government agency. So, for example, in Marawi City, sa Marawi City, may project ang local government para sa rehabilitation o rebuilding ng mga roads o public buildings pagkatapos ng Marawi Rehabilitation Program. Kung ang contractor ay nanalo sa bidding para sa road construction project na worth of 5 million, kailangan nilang mag-submit ng performance security na 10%. Big sabihin nun ay kailangan nilang magbigay ng 500,000 performance security bago pirma ng kontrata. So, ito ay para siguraduhin na matatapos ang project ng maayos at hindi iiwan ng kontraktor ang trabaho. So, in conclusion, ang performance security ay mahalaga sa procurement process dahil ito ay nagbibigay ng security sa government project at sinisigurado nito na responsible ang kontraktor. at pinoprotektahan nito ang pundo ng gobyerno at ng mga mamamayan. Kaya mahalaga ang Section 39 para masigurado ng maayos, transparent at accountable ang mga government project. At yun lang po. Maraming salamat.
So, good day everyone. So, I will be discussing the Section 40, which is about the failure to enter into contract and post-performance security. So, this section explains what will happen if yung bidder who won the bidding does not continue with the contract. So, if yung bidder na may lowest calculated responsive bid or highest rated responsive bid fails, refuse, or unable to submit the required documents, sign the contract, or provide the required performance security within the given time, there will be consequences. So, one consequence is that yung bid security nila will be forfeited. So, which means they will going to lose the security they submitted during the bidding process. So, they may also face sanctions or penalties. So, now according sa Section 40.2, so if yung winning bidder fails to complete these requirements, yung BAC or Bids and Awards Committee will disqualify that bidder. So after that, yung BAC or Bid and Awards Committee will move on to the next bidder, which is yung bidder na may second lowest calculated bid or highest rated bid. So they will then conduct the post-qualification process to check if yung bidder ba meets all the requirements and capable sila of handling the project. So in simple terms, if yung winning bidder backs out or cannot complete the requirements, they will lose their bid security, be disqualified, and yung project opportunity will be given to the next qualified bidder. So that's all for the Section 40.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wabarakatuh, and I am Abbas Ilamoran, and our topic today is Section 41 Reservation Clause. The head of the procuring entity reserves the right to reject any and always declare a failure of bidding or not award the contract in the following situation. Ang reservation of clause, ito ay nagbibigay sa head procuring entity ng kapangyarihan sa tanggihan ng anumang bid. Ideklarang bigwang bidding o hindi mag-award ng kontrata. And first is that if there is prima facie evidence of collusion between appropriate public officials or employee of the procuring entity or between the back end of the bidders and so on. Kapag may prima facie evidence o matibay ng ebidensya sa unang tingin ng sabuatan o regularidad sa pagbidding o nakilala ng tao o mga nagtatrabaho ng processing agency o sabuatan sa pagitan ng mga bidders ng gumagawa ng nagbibigil o nagpapawalang bisa sa competition. And number 2, if the BAC is found to have failed in following the prescribed bidding procedure, or number 3 and 4 for justifiable reasonable ground where to award of the contract will not. Number 2, kapag ang BEC or BAC bid in our committee ay napatunayan na hindi nito sinunod ng mga itinakdang proseso sa bidding o para sa anumang makatwiran at sapat na dahilan kung saan ang paggawa ng kontrata ay
So, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wabarakatuh. I am Shohaili Saregala. So, dito naman tayo sa section 42, which is the contract implementation and termination. So, sa 42.1 is the contract implementation guidelines for the procurement of goods, supplies, and materials are provided for in Annex D of this IRR. So sa meaning na IRR is the internal rate of return. So dito sa 42.1 is sinasabi dito na ang mga guidelines o patakaran sa pagpapatupad ng kontrata para sa pagbili ng supplies, materials ay makikita dito sa IRR. Ang ibig sabihin nito is nakadetalye kung paano isasagawa ang kontrata kapag mga kagamitan o materials ang binibili. So, sa 42.2 naman, which is the contract implementation guidelines for the procurement of infrastructure project are provided for in Annex E of this IRR. So, sa 42.2 naman is dito is hindi papayag ang incentive bonus sa kahit anong ani o dahilan, which is bawal magbigay ng extra bonus sa wala na sa kontrata. So sa 42.3 naman is the contract implementation guidelines for the procurement of consulting services are provided for in Annex F of this IRR. So sa 42.3 naman is dito sa kontrata na to ay para sa consulting services, like for example the experts na consultant, engineer, or kahit ano man yan. Sa 42.4 naman is no incentive bonus in whatever form or for whatever purposes shall be allowed. So sa 42.4 naman is dyan is hindi pinapayagan ang incentive bonus sa kahit anong dahilan or kahit anong ibig sabihin. Meaning is magbibigay lang ng extra na bonus na wala sa kontrata. So sa 42.5 naman is procuring entities may issue a letter for credit in favor of a local foreign suppliers provided that no payments on the letter of credit shall be made until delivery and acceptance of goods and as certified to by the procuring entity. So dito sa 42.5 naman is ang procuring entity is yan yung mga agency ng gobyerno na bumibili. Dito ay pwede lang gumamit ng letter of the credit kapag ang supplier ay local or foreign. Pero may mga condition yan. Like for example is hindi mo nababayaran ang supplier hanggat hindi pa na i-deliver at natatanggap ang mga materials. Yun lang po.
Good day, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I am Jumalay Panimbang and I will discuss the rule for the domestic and foreign procurement. So this section talks about how the government buys goods or materials, whether local or foreign, and how they give preference to Filipino products and companies. So we have here the scope and applications. The procuring entity shall give preference to materials and supplies produced, made, and manufactured in the Philippines, and to the domestic entities subject to the conditions and specified. So this means that the government must prioritize or give preference to the products that are made in the Philippines or to the Filipino companies. Ibig sabihin, inuuna ng government ang local products para matulungan ang sariling economy. However, this is not automatic. There are conditions that must be followed before a company claim preference. So we have here the domestic entity. Pag sinabi nating domestic entity ay isang kumpanya or organization na nakarehistro at nagpapatakbo sa loob ng isang bansa. So A Filipino company can only claim preference if they have certification from the Department of Trade and Industry, which is the DTI. So, kailangan may proof na qualified sila under the law. So, hindi porket Filipino company ay automatic na may advantage na. They must secure a DTI certification first. So, we have here the domestic bidder. The domestic bidder naman ay isang individual o kumpanya na nag-aalok ng presyo para sa isang proyekto o produkto at sila ay mula rin sa parehong bansa. So, this means bidder must prove that most of their products are made in the Philippines. Substantially composed means majority of the materials are local. If the government buys tables and the tables are made in Cebu using local wood, that the bidder can claim preference. But if the tables are imported, even if the company is Filipino, they cannot fully claim the preference. So, we have here the procedures and guidelines. The preference shall be applied when the lowest foreign bid is lowest than the lowest bid offered by domestic bidder, and or the lowest bid offered by a non-Philippine national is lower than the lowest bid offered by domestic entity. So, this explains when the preference rule is applied if the foreign bidder offers a lower price than the Filipino bidder. The preference will be used. So, kahit mas mura ang foreign bid, may chance pa rin na manalo ang local bidder because of the evaluation processes. So, for the evaluation purposes, the lowest foreign bid or the bid offered by a non-Philippine national shall be increased by 15%. This is very important rule. For comparison only, the foreign bid will be increased 15%. Hindi ito dadagdag sa actual payment. It is only used during evaluation. So for example, mayroon tayong foreign bid na 1 million. So, kailangan natin dumagdag ng 15% sa isang of the 1 million. So, magkakaroon tayo ng 150,000. So, evaluation prices becomes 1,000 and 150,000. So, if the domestic bid is 1,100 and 1,100,000, then after evaluation, mas mababa pa ang local bid, so the Filipino bidder wins. So if the domestic entity bidder refuse to accept the award, if the Filipino bidder is given the chance to match the foreign bid but refuses within 2 days, the contract will be awarded to the Filipino bidder. So may pagkakataon talaga na ang local bidder, pero kung tatanggi sila, mapupunta ito sa foreign company. But the foreign bidder must still complete the post-qualification and submit all their required documents. So the Rule 12 ensures that the government support Filipino businesses by giving preference to locally made products while still maintaining a fair and competitive bidding process. So that's all, and thank you.
Good day. To conclude, the procurement process is very important because it ensures that government projects are implemented in a transparent, fair, and efficient manner. Each step in the process helps maintain accountability and ensures that public funds are used properly. By following these procedures, the government can make sure that projects are completed on time, within budget, and according to the proper standards. And that concludes my presentation. So thank you very much.